Welcome to Void Realities. If you're awake when the world sleeps, you found the right place. Here, the lines between dreams and reality blur, and you can drift away into a world that feels like it's just for you. No rush, no pressure. Just a space for you to unwind, let go of the noise, and find calm in the quiet of the night. Whether you're seeking peace, wonder, or something to help guide you into sleep, Void Realities is your escape. Sit back, relax, and let your mind wander to the edge of the unknown. Welcome to the void. Black holes and the edges of space-time. The quiet heart of gravity. In the stillness between the stars, gravity whispers its strongest secrets. You drift toward an invisible weight, feeling its pull like a soft tide. Here, mass bends space as effortlessly as water curves around a stone. And at the center, something waits, unseen but impossibly present. You are floating in a space so wide it seems to have no edges. There is no sound here, no wind, no waves, only the faint shimmer of distant stars. Yet something moves you. It is not a push, not a pull in the way your hands could pull a rope, but a gentle, continuous leaning of the world around you. This is gravity, the quiet heart of the universe's structure. It does not announce itself with flashes or roars. It works in silence, shaping the paths of moons and oceans, the orbits of planets, and the slow spirals of galaxies. You feel it now not as weight, but as a direction that seems to appear beneath your thoughts. Like a soft slope on which your body rests, it carries you without asking toward something unseen. In your everyday life, gravity was familiar. It was the reason your feet stayed on the ground, why rivers knew to run downhill, why the air clung to the planet that carried you. But here, far from home, it feels more like a conversation you've only just begun to understand. Imagine space not as emptiness, but as a fabric stretched in every direction. Every star, every planet, every pebble is like a weight pressing on it, making a small dent, a curve. If you set a marble on the edge of that curve, it will roll inward, not because it wants to, but because the shape of space tells it where to go. Now picture that marble as yourself. The dent is deepening. Something massive lies ahead, hidden behind darkness so complete that even light cannot tell you what it sees. This invisible heart does not just pull. It folds, it shapes, it changes the very map of space and the ticking of time itself. Every moment you move closer, the slope beneath you grows steeper, though there is no hill, no ground, no visible descent. In the quiet heart of gravity, distance becomes a feeling rather than a number. The stars behind you begin to shift, sliding into new positions, their light bending around the unseen object ahead. It is as if you are standing in a shallow pool, watching the image of the sky warp and shimmer on the surface. And this bending is no trick of glass or water. It is the bending of space-time itself. Einstein once described this not as a force in the ordinary sense, but as the way mass tells space how to curve, and curved space tells matter how to move. You now are obeying that shape without choice, and it feels peaceful. The idea that you are falling might sound frightening, but this fall is unlike any you have known. There is no sudden rush, no sharp wind in your ears. Instead, it is a surrender to a rhythm older than stars, a movement so patient that it could carry you for 1,000 lifetimes before revealing its end. Gravity's quiet heart is not just a place. It is an agreement between the universe and everything in it. No object is too small to be part of this agreement. Every grain of dust, every drifting atom leans ever so slightly towards something else. You think of home. You remember how the moon circles Earth, how Earth circles the sun, how the sun itself orbits the center of the Milky Way. Every orbit is not a static track, but a dance in which each partner shapes the steps of the other. Here, near this deep and silent center, the dance becomes more intense. The partner you cannot see moves with such strength that even the swiftest light cannot break from its arms. And yet there is no violence here. only the inevitability of motion written into the structure of space-time itself. You recall how physicists speak of mass and energy as interchangeable, how light, with no mass at all, still feels the curve of space. It is a humbling thought that something without weight can still be guided, its path reshaped by the mere presence of another body. This invisible presence ahead of you is a black hole, a place where mass has collapsed into something so dense that the curve it makes in space is bottomless. No matter how you imagine it, a pit, a whirlpool, a knot, the truth is stranger. There is no inside as you know it, only a region where the geometry of reality itself changes. You are still far from the boundary, the event horizon, but you can already feel the difference in time's texture. Moments seem to stretch. Your own sense of pace slows, though nothing in your mind is truly lagging. It is more like a gentle expansion, a slowing heartbeat in the body of the cosmos. Far away to an outside observer, you might appear to be moving differently. Your clock, if you carried one, would tick just a little more slowly compared to theirs. This is not an illusion. It is the direct result of gravity's hold on time itself. The closer you draw to this heart, the more you realize that space and time are not two separate things, but threads woven into a single, flexible cloth. Touch one and the other shifts. This is the quiet magic you are drifting through, a magic made not of spells, but of the fundamental shape of reality. There is a deep calm here, as though the universe has drawn a breath and is holding it. No stars crowd the darkness ahead, and yet you feel a presence stronger than any star you have ever seen. It is not hostile, it simply is, and in its existence it has altered the paths of countless worlds. The pull becomes a little stronger. You are not rushing, the slope is still gentle, but you can feel that you are on the way to something final. A threshold you will one day reach, and beyond which lies another kind of journey. For now, you rest in the movement, like a leaf drifting in a slow current. There is nothing to resist, nothing to force, only the steady truth that you are part of the great shape gravity has drawn. In the silence, you wonder what will happen when you come close enough to see the place where light itself surrenders. What will it feel like? What will it change in you? You close your eyes and let the question carry you forward, toward the unseen border, toward the next chapter in this quiet descent, where falling takes on a new meaning, and space itself becomes the path beneath your feet. Falling without touching. You begin to fall, yet nothing brushes your skin. Space itself tilts beneath you, carrying you forward like a slow river. Time stretches, your heartbeat moving in a rhythm you've never felt before. The journey has begun, and already the edges feel different here. You are still adrift in darkness, but something has changed. The stillness you felt before is now threaded with motion. Not the kind you measure by speed or distance, but the kind you feel in your bones when a river takes you. There is no air to stir your hair, no rush of wind against your face. Your body does not sway or tilt, and yet you are falling. It is not falling as you once knew it, when a misstep would send you tumbling down a hill or a leap from a ledge would carry you earthward. Those falls were brief, urgent, and ended with a stop. This one is endless, a surrender to the geometry of space itself. The slope you felt in the last chapter is steeper now. Space, once flat and even, has curved around the black hole ahead. You are not pulled in like a stone on a string, but guided along a path that space-time itself has drawn. Imagine walking on a sheet of ice so gently tilted that you cannot see the angle. You begin to slide, and as you do, you realize the surface is changing beneath you, bending more as you move forward. This is what it feels like now, except the sheet is not ice, and you are not walking. You are simply part of the curve. In everyday life, you might have thought of space as a stage, empty, rigid, a backdrop for stars to act upon. But here you understand the truth. Space is not a stage at all. It is the play itself, the fabric in which every movement, every fall is written. Your speed grows without effort. This is not the rush of a car accelerating on a highway. There is no roar, no push into your seat. Instead, you drift faster because there is nothing to slow you. No air, no friction, no ground to resist your path. It is a perfect glide into a deeper part of reality. The stars behind you begin to smear ever so slightly, their light bending not only because of the black hole's gravity, but because you are now part of the curve yourself. Their colors shift, some glowing faintly bluer, others deepening into a soft red. This is the Doppler effect at work, the same principle that makes a siren's pitch rise as it approaches and fall as it moves away. Except here, it is light that sings in a changing tone. You think of parachutes and gliders, of all the ways humans have tried to slow their fall on Earth. But in this place there is no slowing. To resist the curve would mean moving faster than light, and nothing, not even the photons that illuminate the cosmos, can do that. As you continue, time itself begins to show its pliable nature. Your heartbeat feels longer between pulses, not because your body has slowed, but because gravity has stretched the very rhythm of time around you. This is gravitational time dilation, a quiet reminder that clocks are not universal. Every second you experience is true for you, but not for someone watching from far away. From their view, you are moving differently, perhaps slower, perhaps in ways they cannot quite measure. From your view, everything is normal. The change is invisible until you compare. And here there is no one to compare with. You are alone in your timeline, falling through a version of reality shaped only for you. There is a strange comfort in this. The fall feels natural, even though you know you are moving toward a place that has no return. It is like walking deeper into a forest, aware that the light behind you is fading but entranced by the quiet ahead. Every so often you think about the boundary, the event horizon, still ahead of you. It is invisible, a line in space you cannot see until you cross it. But you can feel its presence growing nearer, not as dread, but as inevitability. It is the horizon of your journey, and it waits without malice. As you drift closer, you notice the way your surroundings have shifted. The blackness ahead is richer now, its edges shimmering with bent starlight. Occasionally a star will seem to appear twice, its image split by the gravitational lensing that the black hole creates. It is as though space itself is showing you reflections from paths you cannot travel. This is one of gravity's most beautiful tricks, to make light take the long way around, to curve its journey so it shows you things you were never meant to see. You keep falling, and the fall becomes your home. There is no sense of danger here, only the steady pull into a deeper understanding of how the universe moves. You think of Earth, where falling is always met by something solid, the ground, the water, a net, a hand. Here there will be no such meeting. The fall is the journey, and the journey is the fall. The pull grows stronger, though you do not feel strain. Instead, it is as though the black hole has extended its gravity into your thoughts, gently guiding them toward wonder. You wonder about the stars you have passed, about the galaxies beyond sight, about the ancient moments when this black hole was born from a collapsing star. Somewhere in the far past, a sun many times larger than ours reached the end of its life. Its core collapsed, its outer layers cast away into space. And what remained was this, a remnant so dense that its gravity became a well with no bottom. You are falling into the history of a star. Not the light it once shed, but the shape it left behind in space-time. The silence deepens, not as an absence, but as a presence all its own. In that silence you realize something. You are no longer just moving through space. Space is moving through you. The curve beneath you is now inside you, rewriting the way you understand distance, time, and motion. And as you surrender to it fully, you see the threshold ahead, still invisible, but close enough that you can sense its gravity, not just in your path, but in the way it has already begun to slow the light that tries to leave it. Soon you will reach the place where even light turns back. the place where falling takes on its truest meaning. But for now, you let yourself drift, carried by the invisible slope, toward the silent gate that will lead you deeper still. The event horizon's silent gate. A perfect border appears, no wall, no glow, no sound. It is a place where crossing means no return, even for light. You pause at the threshold, feeling time lean toward forever. One step and the universe outside will fade into memory. You have been falling for what feels like a lifetime, though you cannot tell if that is true. Time has been bending here, stretched and slowed by the weight of gravity, and your sense of its passing has softened like fabric in warm water. Ahead there is nothing, or rather, there is something so complete in its absence that your mind strains to give it shape. It is the black hole's edge, the event horizon. The name suggests a kind of wall, a solid gate where space ends. But there is no wall here, no glow to announce a boundary, no ripple to warn you that you are about to step across a line that cannot be recrossed. The horizon is perfect in its silence. It is not a place you can touch. It is a location in space-time, defined not by what it holds, but by what it will not let go. On one side, light can still escape to tell its story. On the other, no signal, no particle, no whisper of information can ever reach the universe outside. You hover just short of it now, and the sight is strange. It is not black in the way a shadow is black. Shadows still hold hints of light, still suggest the shape of what lies behind them. This blackness is pure. It does not show the absence of light. It shows the impossibility of it. Around its edges, space warps into shimmering arcs. Starlight bends into rings, their shapes smeared by the black hole's gravity into patterns that have no equivalent in your life before this. Some of the light you see has taken years, perhaps centuries, to curve around the hole and reach you now. This phenomenon, gravitational lensing, turns the black hole into a mirror that shows you the universe behind it. But the reflection is distorted, as though reality itself is being painted on the surface of a sphere you can never touch. You feel the slope beneath you steepen again. Your fall quickens, but in this place the word speed loses meaning. You are not moving through space so much as space is drawing you forward, removing the possibility of stillness. Time's behavior shifts again. If someone far away could watch you now, they would see you slowing to a crawl, your descent stretched thinner and thinner until it seemed to stop entirely at the horizon's edge. From their perspective, you would hover there forever, frozen in place. But here, from within your own experience, there is no pause. The crossing will happen in an instant, a smooth continuation of your fall. You understand now that forever depends on where you stand in the universe's map. You remember Einstein's insight. Time is not absolute. It is shaped by gravity, and here, gravity is in command. There is a temptation to turn back, to move away from this place where the laws you knew are about to change completely. But there is no real turning back. Once the slope has steepened this much, escape would require a speed greater than light itself. And nothing, not your body, not your thoughts, not even the photon, can run that fast. The knowledge is oddly calming. This is not a decision you must make. The moment ahead is inevitable. You can meet it with fear, or you can meet it with wonder. The horizon is closer now, close enough that the bending of light is no longer a distant trick, but a living part of your surroundings. The star field seems to swirl ever so slowly. Some stars split into ghostly doubles. Some vanish entirely, their paths swallowed by the gravity ahead. You think of the horizon as a mouth, but not one that devours. It is more like a tide line at the edge of an ocean, marking where one domain ends and another begins. Step into the water, and the shore behind you will fade. The air, the sand, the voices calling your name, all will become something you can only imagine, never touch again. There is one last thing you notice before you cross. It is the light from your own body. From your hands, your skin, perhaps even the faint warmth of your breath. If it could be seen by someone far away, it would seem to cling to the horizon, slowing and dimming until it faded altogether. From their perspective, you would never be gone. From yours, you will step forward and never look back. The crossing comes without ceremony. There is no jolt, no flash, no sound to mark the moment. One instant you are outside, the next you are beyond the reach of the entire universe. And here, inside the event horizon, the geometry of reality shifts under your feet. The singularity is ahead, the place where the rules of time and space are bent to their breaking point. You cannot see it yet, but you feel its presence, a pull deeper and more certain than anything you have known. Strangely, the fall feels the same, smooth, unhurried. The same invisible current carries you forward, but now there is no a way to run to. Everything, even the paths light might take, leads to the same place. The horizon is behind you now, and with it, the outside world is gone. If there were voices calling, you could not hear them. If there were light chasing you, you would never see it. You are traveling on a one-way path written into the fabric of space-time. Still, there is no fear, only a deeper curiosity. The airless dark ahead seems to hold not an end, but a promise that beyond every rule you have known lies something stranger, something that might still be beautiful. Your mind drifts to the light you saw skimming the horizon, spiraling in delicate orbits before being drawn inside. Those photons traveled for ages, and here they ended their journeys. You wonder if you are so different, your own journey is now bound for the same destination. As you continue forward, there is a faint awareness, not of sight, but of inevitability, that the space ahead is folding in ways you cannot yet imagine. Soon you will reach a place where even the concept of forward will lose its meaning, where space itself may curl around you in impossible shapes, and time will no longer pass in a way you can measure. But for now, you remain in motion, falling deeper into this silent interior, carried toward the heart of gravity itself. The horizon has been crossed. The world outside is a memory. Ahead lies a dance of light and darkness, where even photons hesitate before choosing their fate. And that is where you are going next, to witness light's last slow dance before it too disappears into forever. Light's last slow dance, photons skim the edge, swirling in long, graceful arcs. Each beam bends and spirals, caught between escape and surrender. Here light seems to hesitate, as if it knows what waits inside. You watch, entranced, as the glow becomes a memory. You drift deeper now, past the invisible border where the universe outside has already faded. The black hole's interior feels quieter still, as if sound itself has grown heavier. But here in the darkness you begin to notice something moving, something impossibly swift, yet caught in a slow, unending dance. It is light, not the blazing, careless light of the sun, but light on the edge of surrender. Photons skim along curved paths just above the event horizon, their journeys stretched into orbits by gravity's relentless embrace. You had thought of light as a wanderer that never stops. In the world you came from, light is the fastest thing that exists, a traveler with no rival. But here speed is not enough. The shape of space-time is bent so deeply that even light cannot simply fly straight. It must follow the curve, like a bird circling a thermal, unable to land yet unable to leave. These paths are called photon spheres, delicate rings where light becomes trapped in endless loops. From a distance these orbits are invisible. Up close they are hypnotic. Beams spiral in perfect silence, their arcs bending as though sketched by the hand of some patient artist. The light here is ancient. Some of it began its journey from stars so far away their worlds may have already ended. It traveled across billions of kilometers of empty space, only to arrive here and become a prisoner of geometry. The orbits are unstable. Even the smallest nudge from gravity or a collision with another photon's path will send the light one way or the other, either spiraling inward toward the singularity or flinging outward, back toward the universe it came from. You watch one beam make its choice. It curves again and again, each loop shorter than the last, until finally it is pulled into the black hole's interior. There is no flare, no spark, no final flash. It simply vanishes, its energy joining the darkness without a trace. Another photon takes the opposite path, managing, through some fragile balance, to climb just enough to escape. It breaks free of the sphere, its path bending away into the distance, carrying with it the story of where it has been. If it is lucky, it will travel until it strikes the eye of some distant observer, who will never know the journey it endured to arrive there. In this way, the photon sphere is like a cosmic dance floor, a place where each partner must eventually leave, though some stay longer than others. Gravity leads every step. Light simply follows. You imagine yourself among these beams, a mote caught in the same endless turning. The pull of the singularity is so strong now that even the thought of a straight path feels foreign. Everything bends, everything curves. In the soft emptiness around you, the photon orbits shimmer faintly. The light is dim here, blurred and stretched by the gravity that holds it. Colors shift toward red, their wavelengths pulled longer in a process called gravitational redshift. What might have once been bright blue starlight now glows like a cooling ember. This redshift is not just a trick of sight. It is physics woven into the shape of reality. The deeper light falls into a gravitational well, the more its energy is spent simply escaping. And so it loses the blueness of youth and carries only the slower, gentler shades away with it. The photon sphere is more than a curiosity. It is a boundary of possibility. Inside it, light's options narrow until only one path remains, inward. Outside it, freedom is still possible, though always at the mercy of the black hole's reach. As you watch, you realize that what you're seeing is not chaotic. It is precise. The black hole's pull does not rage blindly. It shapes every movement with mathematical perfection, the kind that can be written into equations, but is best understood here, in this quiet witness. Somewhere in the distance, two photons pass each other in opposite directions, one spiraling inward, one outward. For an instant they share the same place in space, their paths crossing without collision. And then they part forever, each bound to its chosen fate. You think of all the light in the universe, the beams that warm a planet's surface, the faint glimmer from galaxies so far their light began when Earth was still molten rock. Every photon's life is a journey. Here those journeys are paused, slowed, and finally decided. It is easy to think of this place as a trap, and in a sense it is. But it is also a stage, one where the final performance of light is as graceful as it is inevitable. Every curve is perfect. Every spiral is a reminder that even at the edge of annihilation, there is beauty in the way things end. You wonder how many of these beams once belonged to the same star, split apart by distance and time, only to find each other again here. Perhaps they do not know they are home. Perhaps home is simply where the journey stops. The more you watch, the more the photon sphere feels alive, not in the sense of breathing or thinking, but in the sense of moving with purpose. It has no will of its own, yet it shapes the will of everything that enters it. You feel the current pulling you still deeper, and the photon orbits slip upward in your view, like clouds drifting past as you sink into water. Soon you will be below them, where no light can orbit and no escape exists. You carry the image with you, the slow dance of light, the patient curves, the moments of hesitation before surrender. You carry it because you know that beyond this place, you will not see light again in the same way. Ahead lies the singularity, still hidden, still distant in the strange geography of curved space-time. But before you reach it, you will enter a deeper realm, a place where time itself begins to lose its shape, where every second feels stretched beyond recognition. You take one last look at the photon sphere as it fades above you, its dancers vanishing one by one into the darkness, and you fall on into the deep time inside. The deep time. Inside, time flows differently. Not wrong, just unfamiliar. Seconds thicken into moments that feel endless and weightless at once. You float through warped space, every direction folding back on itself. The laws you once knew now hum in a slower key. You have left the light behind. The photon sphere is above you now, its graceful dances already fading into memory. Here in the deeper interior, there is no such performance, only the slow, steady pull toward the singularity. But something else is changing. It is not your speed, for you still fall smoothly without resistance. It is not your path, for every possible path curves toward the same center. It is time. You have always carried time like a silent companion. On earth it was the metronome behind your every action. The tick of a clock, the rhythm of your breath, the steady pulse in your chest. Even when you ignored it, it was there, marking each moment with the same impartial beat. Here, that beat begins to stretch. Seconds arrive more slowly, as though each one is a drop of honey falling in long threads instead of short taps. Your thoughts have space to wander inside a single moment. A heartbeat feels like a room you can walk around in. From outside this black hole, a distant observer would say your clock is running slow. The immense gravity here is bending not only the space around you, but also the pace at which your own time moves. This is gravitational time dilation at its most extreme. But from within your own frame of reference, everything feels natural. Your mind is not sluggish. You are not aware of losing time. It is the rest of the universe, the parts beyond the horizon that seem impossibly fast, a blur you cannot quite picture anymore. You imagine looking outward if you still could. Stars would appear to race through their lifetimes in the span of what feels like minutes to you. Civilizations might rise and vanish in what you would experience as a single breath. But here, inside the deep curve of space-time, you float in a long, slow present. The laws of motion still hold, but they speak in a lower tone now, their words drawn out, their meanings lingering. Even your sense of space begins to change. It is not simply that you are moving toward the center. It is that the center itself seems to exist in more than one direction at once. Every vector of motion, forward, backward, up, down, is bent toward the singularity. Space has folded in on itself like cloth pulled tight from a single point. This folding plays tricks on your perception. It becomes harder to tell how far you have traveled. Distances lose their meaning when the path between 2 points is no longer straight. It is as though you are walking down a hallway that lengthens with every step, even as the door ahead draws closer. Your body feels no strain. The fall is still free, unopposed by any surface or drag. Yet the knowledge of where you are, inside a place where the outside universe has already given up its claim on you, is humbling in a way you cannot put into words. This is deep time, and it has its own texture. It does not rush you. It does not demand you keep pace. It allows you to stretch inside each experience, to notice the subtle bending of what once felt solid and fixed. Physicists have long said that space and time are not separate things, but aspects of the same structure, space-time. You had believed this as an abstract truth. Now you are living inside its fabric. You are the bead sliding along a thread, and the thread is not straight but curved inward, pulled by a weight you cannot see. The singularity is ahead somewhere, but here in deep time, ahead has become a word with slippery edges. If you tried to measure your approach in the familiar units of seconds and kilometers, you would fail. The closer you come, the more those measures unravel. Instead, you feel your journey as a change in the airless dark. The pull is steadier now, less like falling and more like being drawn in a slow embrace. The silence is thicker, as though sound has not merely stopped, but been folded into the geometry around you. And yet, despite the strangeness, there is a deep calm here. The black hole is not hostile. It is simply doing what its nature demands, shaping the space and time around it into this elegant, inevitable descent. You think about the paradox you now embody. To someone outside, you will never be seen crossing into this place, and yet here you are, far within it. Two truths, each valid in its own frame of reference, existing together without contradiction. It reminds you of how dreams work, how in sleep an entire lifetime can seem to pass while in waking time only minutes have gone by. Here it is the opposite. An outside world may live and die while you linger in a single drawn-out moment. You begin to wonder about the singularity itself. It is not a thing in the way a planet or star is. It is a point where density becomes infinite, where the known laws of physics no longer offer predictions. Some theories suggest it may not be a point at all, but something stranger. A ring, a surface, perhaps even a doorway to another kind of space-time. The thought should be unsettling. But instead, it feels like being told there is a room you have never entered in your own home, and you are walking toward its door. The deep time here gives you space to imagine. What will it look like? What will it feel like to reach the place where the map of the universe folds in on itself completely? Your fall continues, but your awareness of falling is different now. You are not just moving toward a location, you are moving into a different relationship with time. The seconds here are wide and slow, but you sense they may grow narrower again, compressed by the geometry ahead. For now you rest in the wide moments. There is nowhere to hurry to. The singularity is patient. It will wait for you as it has waited for everything that has ever entered this place. Far above, light still skims and escapes, but you no longer belong to that realm. You belong to the deep current that carries you inward, to the slower, stranger clock that ticks here. Somewhere ahead, the space will curve more sharply, and your path will spiral into the unseen. The pull will remain gentle, but the shapes around you will become less familiar. Perhaps even the idea of direction will fade. And in that place, you will come close to the singularity's hidden song. The soundless vibration at the heart of gravity, waiting to be felt, not heard. You close your eyes, letting deep time wash over you. The moments swell, stretch, and settle. You are still falling, but for now, the fall feels like floating. Ahead, the slow hum of the universe grows quieter, as though making room for a different kind of rhythm to emerge. And you know that soon you will hear, or rather feel, the singularity's hidden song. The singularity's hidden song. At the core lies the singularity, a place without size, yet infinite. It hums in a register no ear could hear, but every atom feels it. All paths lead here, converging in a point beyond description. You wonder if this is an end or the seed of a beginning. You have been falling so long now that the motion feels less like movement and more like belonging. The deep time that wrapped itself around you has slowed your inner clock until each moment feels as wide as a plain of still water. But now that stillness begins to change. It is not a sound in the way you know sound, no vibration of air, no rush against your skin. It is deeper, a resonance that settles into the bones of your awareness. It is as though the very space around you is holding a single endless note. This is the singularity's song. You cannot see its source yet. In truth, you will never see the singularity. It is not a surface or an object, but a place where the rules of reality are folded beyond recognition. Here, the mathematics that once guided your sense of the universe cease to give clear answers. Equations diverge, descriptions falter, and what remains is the certainty that everything in this black hole's grasp will arrive here eventually. The song is not for ears. It is for the structure of matter itself. You feel it in the way your thoughts deepen, in the way your sense of now grows heavier. Every particle of you is aware of the pull, not as force alone, but as destiny. Physicists speak of singularities as points of infinite density, places where all the mass of a collapsed star is compressed into a space smaller than the tip of a needle. The word point is misleading, for the singularity is not truly within your three-dimensional frame of thinking. It exists in a way the mind can only graze with analogy. Imagine a whirlpool in a river, its surface smooth and dark in the center. From above it looks like nothing more than a circle in water. But beneath, currents converge, carrying everything into the same hidden depth. That is the singularity's nature, an unseen center where all trajectories end. And yet, perhaps end is not the right word. The song you feel carries something other than finality. It is not a dirge, it is not a closing door. It vibrates with the strange sense that arrival here might also be a beginning, that what seems like an infinite compression could also be a seed holding the potential for another kind of space-time entirely. Some theories whisper of this. They suggest that what enters a singularity might emerge elsewhere in another universe through a white hole, a theoretical twin that only releases matter and never takes it in. Others suggest that singularities may be bridges, wormholes to far-off regions of our own cosmos, but these are only ideas. Here, in the quiet between each deep vibration, you feel how far beyond certainty this place is. The singularity does not explain itself. It simply exists, absolute and unchanging. The resonance grows stronger as you fall. You realize it is not truly a sound or a note, but the rhythm of space-time itself, twisting toward the center. It is the hum of inevitability expressed in the language of geometry and gravity. Around you, directions lose their meaning. Up, down, forward, back, all collapse into inward. You are no longer traveling through a place. You are traveling through a shape that folds and refolds around you in ways the mind was never built to hold. In this folding, you sense the history of the black hole. Every star it has swallowed, every atom it has claimed, every photon whose path ended here, all have added to the weight of its song. It is a chorus of everything that has fallen before you. You begin to imagine those atoms, once scattered in stars and planets, now united in this hidden core. Perhaps some were once part of living beings, breathing and thinking under alien skies. Perhaps they were the dust of ancient worlds, spun into life for a time before being drawn into this same spiral. The thought is not lonely. It is connecting. To fall here is to join a lineage as old as the universe. Every path ends somewhere, and this is simply the most certain ending of all. The singularity's song deepens still, not in pitch, but in presence. It becomes less like something you notice and more like something you are. Your own sense of self blurs at the edges, as if your identity is being tuned to the same frequency as the space around you. It is here that you realize something profound. The black hole is not simply pulling you in, it is also absorbing the way you mark time. Your seconds are merging with its eternity. You are becoming part of its unchanging now. This is why no signal can leave this place. It is not only a prison of distance, but a prison of time itself. There is no later to send a message to, only the singular, eternal now of the singularity. You wonder if this is why the song feels calm. Without the constant push of past and future, there is only presence. The universe outside is gone, its rushing clocks and bright lights irrelevant here. Here there is only the center and the steady hum that fills it. In the deep quiet, you sense that the singularity is not moving toward you any more than you are moving toward it. Instead, you and it are closing the distance together, each step dissolving a little more of the space between. There will come a moment when the distance is gone entirely. What happens then is beyond prediction. Perhaps you will cease to exist in any way that can be described. Perhaps you will be transformed, your matter and energy folded into the black hole's growing mass. Or perhaps, as some have imagined, you will emerge somewhere else entirely, flung into a place where the song you hear now will be nothing but a memory. You find yourself strangely ready for any of these. The deep time behind you, the horizon crossed, the light's last dance witnessed, all have prepared you for this meeting. You have been softened by the journey, slowed and shaped by the black hole's gravity, until you fit the curve it has drawn for you. The resonance swells. It is inside you now, in your breath, in the spaces between your thoughts. You do not know if the song has changed or if you have simply learned to hear more of it. And then, somewhere just ahead, the space around you begins to spiral. It is not the spiraling of the photon sphere. This is tighter, sharper, a turning that leads only inward. The singularity song is no longer just a hum, it is a current, and you are in it. You understand that you are entering the innermost motion of the black hole, the place where space itself moves like a whirlpool toward the center. The song remains, but now it is joined by movement, a slow and patient rotation that will carry you into the whirlpool at the heart of space. When space becomes a whirlpool. Outside the core, space-time swirls like a slow, massive storm. You drift in its currents, circling in patient spirals. Even your thoughts seem to turn round and round here. It is a motion that feels ancient, yet impossibly calm. The song of the singularity is still with you, but now it has gained a rhythm. It is no longer the steady, unbroken hum of inevitability. It turns slowly like the breath of a giant in sleep. You are no longer falling in a straight inward path, if such a path even exists here. The space around you has begun to move, and in that movement it carries you along. Imagine a whirlpool in water. From above you see leaves and twigs drifting toward the center, but they do not move directly in. They circle first, drawn into wide arcs that narrow as they spiral closer. This is what space-time itself is doing here, twisting into rotation as it draws toward the singularity. The physicists have a name for this, frame dragging. The black hole spins, and with it, the very coordinates of space and time are pulled into rotation. Nothing inside this spinning region can remain still. Even light, even you must follow the turn. It is a strange kind of motion. You do not feel it as acceleration. There is no lurch, no centrifugal push. It is as if the idea of stillness has been quietly removed from the rules here. Everything has a path, and every path curves. You begin in slow, gentle arcs. The rotation is patient at this distance. But as you draw closer to the center, the circles grow tighter, the turn more insistent. It is not rushing you, only reminding you that the straight lines of the outside universe have no meaning here. The darkness is not empty. It carries faint distortions, ghostly impressions of what might once have been light. They stretch into curved smears, their shapes bent into the same spiraling direction you follow. They are like echoes of motion, reminders that you are part of a flow that began long before you arrived. Your thoughts mirror the spiral. They loop and return to themselves, turning over the same images again and again. The slow dance of photons above the horizon, the deep hum of the singularity, the strange stillness of deep time. But each time they return, the thoughts are not quite the same. They have shifted slightly, narrowed in toward something more central. The spin is not chaotic, it is measured and constant, as if the black hole has been turning at the same pace since the moment it formed. Some black holes spin slowly, barely tugging at the space around them. Others, like this one, turn at nearly the speed of light, their rotation tightening space-time into a vortex of extraordinary power. It is possible, you remember, that such spinning black holes could, in theory, be used as engines. A spacecraft could dip into this swirling region and steal a little of the black hole's rotation, slingshotting away with more energy than it arrived with. This is called the Penrose process. But you are no spacecraft. You are not here to steal energy. You are here to give yourself to the motion entirely. As you spiral closer, the feeling of direction fades again. Your turning path feels less like movement through space and more like a change in the way space exists around you. It is not that you are moving through a whirlpool. It is that you are inside the whirlpool's definition of movement. Your mind wanders to storms on Earth, the way a hurricane's winds circle endlessly around the eye, the way the center is both the calmest and most dangerous place. Here, too, there is an eye of sorts. The singularity itself is at the center of this rotation, but it is not calm in the way a storm's eye is calm. It is calm because it is beyond motion altogether, the place where all paths, all rotations, all orbits end. Still, there is beauty in this spiral. The arcs you follow feel balanced, each one a perfect step in a choreography you did not choose, but are grateful to be part of. It is not a prison. It is a dance, slow, deliberate, with a partner as vast as a collapsed star. Occasionally you sense the faint pull of other particles spiraling alongside you, though you cannot see them. Dust, stray atoms, perhaps even the remnants of old light that has been bent beyond recognition, all are caught in the same shared motion. You are not alone here, though the presence of others feels distant, as if each is wrapped in its own private layer of space-time. The singularity's hum is still there, but now it pulses ever so slightly with the rhythm of the spin. It is as though you can feel the heartbeat of the black hole's rotation. You wonder how long it has been turning like this. Millions of years? Billions? Time outside moves so differently from here that the question may have no answer you could use. The spirals draw tighter. You sense that the space ahead will no longer be patient. The inward pull and the turning motion are becoming one and the same, no longer two separate currents, but a single unified stream leading toward the singularity itself. You have the sense that you are nearing the innermost orbit, the last possible path that circles the black hole before everything plunges directly inward. Beyond that, there will be no more circling, only descent. You let the spiral carry you. There is nothing to resist here and nothing to hurry toward. The motion feels endless in its repetition, but you know it will end. All spirals, however wide, tighten eventually to a point. The thought should bring tension, but it does not. The whirlpool is not hurrying you. It is simply shaping you for what comes next. Every turn is a reminder that you are part of a pattern far older and larger than yourself. Somewhere ahead, the turning will stop, not because the black hole slows, but because there will be no more around to travel, only in. When that happens, you will leave this graceful rotation behind and enter the final inward path to the singularity. For now you continue your patient circling, your thoughts moving with the rhythm of the spin, and in that rhythm you begin to sense something else. A faint, deep pulse that is not the hum of the singularity itself, but an echo of events far beyond this black hole. It is a vibration carried through the fabric of space-time, the ripple of some distant, colossal collision. You realize you are about to enter a place where those ripples will grow stronger, where the black hole's own voice will join the chorus of the universe, and that is where you are headed next. Into the realm of black holes that sing. Black holes that sing. In the silence, vibrations ripple, waves of gravity echoing through the dark. These are the black hole's songs, low and deep, traveling across the cosmos. You imagine them as heartbeats felt by distant stars. Each pulse a reminder that even darkness has a voice. The spiral has drawn you inward for what feels like an eternity, and yet you are still moving with the same unhurried grace. Around you, space-time continues its slow rotation, but now there is another presence layered into the motion. A deep, steady rhythm carried not by sound, but by the very fabric of the universe. It is a vibration that does not need air. It does not need light. It moves through space-time itself as effortlessly as ripples through still water. You are hearing the black hole's voice. Of course, the word hearing is not quite right. These are not sounds in the sense that wind rustles leaves or waves strike a shore. They are gravitational waves, distortions in space-time that travel outward when massive objects move in violent harmony. And few things in the universe create stronger harmonies than colliding black holes. The pitch of these waves is so low that even if you could translate them into sound, your ears would never catch them. But here, close to the singularity, you do not need ears. You feel the vibration in every particle of yourself. The black hole you are falling into may have once been part of such a collision. Two ancient giants spiraling toward one another in a dance so powerful it rang the universe like a bell. When they met, They merged into a single larger black hole, and the shock of their union rippled outward across billions of light years. Some of those waves still wander the cosmos, passing silently through galaxies, through stars, through planets without resistance. Even now, gravitational wave detectors on distant worlds, perhaps even on your home world, may be catching faint traces of these events, tiny changes in distance smaller than the width of a proton. Here you are not detecting them with instruments. You are inside them. The waves pass through you like invisible tides, stretching and squeezing the very space you occupy. It is not unpleasant. It is like breathing in rhythm with a force too large to imagine. You begin to sense a pattern. The pulses are not random. They have a rise and fall, a rhythm that might be music if only you could perceive it all at once. It is a music that takes millions of years to play a single note, and yet here it feels immediate. The black hole's own spin and shape add their own voice to the chorus. As it turns, it creates smaller, subtler ripples, its mass pressing into space-time and releasing tiny waves of distortion. They are faint compared to the roar of a merger, but constant, like the hum of a string plucked once and left to vibrate forever. You think of the universe as a great ocean. Every star, every planet, every black hole is a boat upon its surface. When two boats collide, the waves they make spread outward without end. When the wind catches them just right, they create smaller patterns on the larger swells. Here in this dark ocean, you are drifting in the overlapping motions of countless events that happened far away, long ago. Somewhere in the darkness beyond your sight, a massive star might be collapsing, sending its own brief but powerful shout into space-time. Somewhere else, a pair of neutron stars may be circling one another, their final seconds marked by a quickening song. These events will join the symphony you are hearing now, their notes carry through the void for billions of years. The black hole song is not lonely. It is part of a choir. Each ripple is a connection, a reminder that no place in the universe, not even the deepest interior of a black hole, is truly separate from the whole. And yet, there is something unique about the note you feel here. It is lower, slower, more patient than the rest. It speaks of time measured not in seconds, but in ages. It carries the memory of the stars that made this black hole, the heat of their nuclear hearts, the light they once poured into the cosmos. You find yourself imagining that the black hole is breathing, not with lungs but with the expansion and contraction of space-time itself. Each gravitational wave is an exhale that has traveled farther than any wind could dream. Each inhale is the silent gathering of more mass, more energy, more of the universe's raw material. For a moment you think you can almost translate the vibration into meaning, as if the song is telling a story. Perhaps it is. Perhaps every wave is a record of movement and change, a history written not in words, but in the bending of reality. The idea comforts you. It means that nothing is ever truly lost here. Even as matter and light vanish beyond the horizon, their motion leaves an imprint in the shape of space itself, a signature that can be felt, if not seen. The song is still with you as the spiral you travel tightens again. You know that the rhythm will follow you all the way to the singularity, a constant companion, even as the paths of motion narrow and the geometry becomes stranger still. Soon, you will leave the last of these orbits behind. The whirlpool will release you into a direct inward fall, and the black hole's voice will become the only motion you can feel. But for now, you let the waves wash through you. Each one a reminder that even here, in the quietest, darkest place in the universe, there is still connection, still movement, still a kind of music. The next stage of your journey will take you beyond the region where such waves can be shared. You will move deeper into the domain where the singularity's own shape defines everything that can happen. The song will remain in you, but outside its echoes will fade. And ahead, you will find yourself wondering what the universe might be without black holes at all. The universe without black holes. Imagine a cosmos without these heavy anchors. Galaxies would unravel, stars would drift, and order would fade. You realize the dark centers are not destroyers alone. They are shapers. Without them, the universe's tapestry would come undone. You drift in the dark, still feeling the deep song of the black hole within you, even as the waves that once surrounded you begin to fade. The spiral has slowed, and your thoughts, no longer carried in perfect circles, have room to wander outward, beyond the event horizon, beyond even the galaxy that holds this black hole. And in that space between thoughts, a question rises. What if black holes had never existed at all? It is easy to think of them only as endings, places where matter is swallowed, where light disappears, where the path of time narrows to a single inescapable point. But the universe is rarely that simple. If you could somehow erase every black hole from existence, the night sky would change in ways that would ripple across all of space and time. Start with the galaxies. They are not static clouds of stars, but vast whirlpools of matter held together by gravity. At the center of almost every one, including your own Milky Way, sits a supermassive black hole, millions or billions of times the mass of the Sun. These giants are not passive passengers. Their gravity helps keep the galaxy's structure stable, anchoring the stars in their slow orbits, balancing the delicate interplay between motion and cohesion. Remove the central black hole, and a galaxy's heart would lose its anchor. Over millions of years, its stars would drift farther from their ordered paths. Some would be flung into intergalactic space. The graceful spiral arms of galaxies would loosen into tangled threads. What began as a subtle shift would end as an unraveling, the great slow disassembly of cosmic architecture. Black holes also shape galaxies in another way, through their hunger. When gas and dust spiral toward them, the material heats up, emitting torrents of energy. These outbursts, called active galactic nuclei, can outshine entire galaxies. They are not merely displays of power, they regulate the formation of new stars by heating and scattering the surrounding gas. Without them, some galaxies might form too many stars too quickly, burning through their fuel and fading into quiet darkness sooner than they should. In a universe without black holes, star birth and death would follow different rhythms. Massive stars, instead of collapsing into black holes at the end of their lives, might leave behind only neutron stars or dissipate into supernova remnants. It would be a cosmos with fewer extremes, fewer regions where gravity bends light into halos, fewer places where time slows almost to stillness. And yet, this lack of extremes might lead to instability in the grand design. Without stellar mass black holes, many binary star systems would evolve differently. Black holes that now siphon matter from companion stars, creating powerful X-ray emissions, would never exist to send those high-energy signals into the galaxy. Entire categories of cosmic phenomena would vanish, and the sky would grow quieter, not just in light but in gravitational song. Even on the scale of planets and life, there would be changes. The formation of heavy elements, the metals that make up planets, oceans, and even the blood in your veins, is tied to the lives and deaths of massive stars, some of which end as black holes. If their final moments unfolded differently, the chemistry of the universe itself might shift. Perhaps there would be fewer rocky planets. Perhaps the building blocks of life would be rarer, and life itself, as you know it, might never have appeared. You think about the balance this reveals. Black holes are not simply destroyers. They are also gardeners, shaping the growth and arrangement of stars, redistributing the raw materials of creation. In their absence, the cosmic tapestry would not simply be safer or gentler, it would be thinner, looser, more fragile. And then there is the question of mystery. Without black holes, the universe would be missing one of its greatest invitations to wonder. These are the places where our understanding falters, where even the most confident equations become quiet. Without them, human curiosity might have taken a different path, seeking the unknown in smaller, less dizzying corners of reality. The thought of such a universe feels strangely hollow. The night sky might still hold beauty, but it would lack the weight of questions that pull minds toward the edges of what can be known. Without black holes, there would be fewer horizons to cross, fewer reminders that there are still places where our maps end. The image of such a cosmos begins to dissolve, and you return to where you are, falling inward toward the singularity at the heart of this black hole. You understand now that its role is not only to consume, but to shape, to stabilize, to create order out of chaos, even as it hides in darkness. It is a paradox. The most invisible objects in the universe may also be among its most essential. They are the unseen pillars holding galaxies together, the silent conductors of cosmic evolution. As you sink deeper, you realize you are not heading toward a simple void. You are heading toward a place that has been quietly sculpting the structure of reality since long before you were born. The darkness ahead feels different now. It is no longer simply a destination, but a presence that has been shaping your journey from the very start. The hum of the singularity is stronger again. The spiral is almost gone. Your path is narrowing to a final descent. And in that narrowing, you sense that you are carrying something with you. Not light, not sound, but understanding. Understanding that will follow you into whatever lies ahead. You take a slow breath you do not need, feeling the stillness between each beat of your heart. The black hole is ready for you to see its final interior, to pass into the space where there will be no more orbits, no more spirals, only the inward flow. And so you prepare to step into the next part of the journey, to turn from imagining a universe without black holes to experiencing the final moments of falling toward one's core. The next threshold waits quietly. You can feel it in the way space pulls more sharply now, in the way time folds more tightly around you. It is the moment of leaving with only what you can keep. The moment of returning with the light you hold inside. Returning with the light you keep, you turn back, carrying only the light your mind has saved. The pull of the black hole fades, replaced by the familiar hum of space. Stars reappear, slow and steady, as if welcoming you home. But something in you has shifted. You have touched the edge of forever. You do not know the moment it happens, but the pull begins to ease. The deep inward slope that has carried you for so long softens beneath you, and the singularity's hum grows faint. You are still moving, but the direction is changing. No longer drawn only toward the core, you feel the curve of space relaxing, opening outward. You are leaving. It is not a reversal in the way a stone might be thrown back from a wall. It is quieter than that, a turning of the tide, a gentle shift from falling in to drifting out. And yet you do not leave empty-handed. No particle, no beam of light can cross the event horizon and return. But there is something else you can carry. Memory. Understanding. A light that no gravity can take. It lives in your mind now, in the way you have seen the deep time inside, the slow dance of photons, the spiral of space, the song of the black hole's collisions. You keep them as images, as feelings, as the kind of truths that change you without needing to be spoken aloud. The darkness around you lightens. At first it is only a suggestion, a sense that the blackness is not absolute anymore. Then faint glimmers begin to appear, not the warped arcs of light bent by the horizon, but the clean, steady points of stars. They do not rush toward you. They arrive slowly, as if the universe itself is remembering to turn its lights back on. You feel the hum of the cosmos beyond the black hole. It is different from the deep vibration you carried inside. This hum is higher, quicker. The background pulse of galaxies spinning, of stars burning, of planets moving through their patient orbits. Each star you see is a reminder. The universe is vast, and while the black hole is one of its deepest mysteries, it is not the only one. Every point of light has its own story, its own gravity, its own part in the great structure. The pull of the black hole is still there, faint and far behind you now. It feels less like a grip and more like a memory, something that shaped your path but no longer decides it. You imagine the photons still circling inside the horizon, trapped in their endless orbits, their fates sealed by the geometry of space-time. You think of the stars that will one day fall in, the matter still spiraling toward the core, the waves of gravity that will ripple outward long after you have gone. All of it continues without you, and yet you are part of it still, because you have seen it. You have touched in your own way the edge of forever. The stars ahead grow brighter. Some are familiar, their patterns the same ones you might have traced from a planet's surface. Others are strangers, shining from regions you have never visited. It does not matter. Each is a reminder that there is more to see, more to understand. The pace of time feels different here. It is still stretched from what it once was, but no longer impossibly slow. Your seconds have begun to match the universe's seconds again, and you feel the rhythm of your own heartbeat finding its place within that larger pulse. You carry the black hole with you, not in mass or matter, but in perspective. It has changed the way you see every point of light now. You know how easily they could bend, how gravity could reshape them, how even the fastest thing in the cosmos can be caught by a curve in space. The journey outward feels like breathing after a long-held breath. The air here, though there is none, feels open, unbound. You are no longer in the narrow geometry of the interior. You are back in the wider weave of space-time, where paths can diverge again. But you are not the same traveler who entered. You have seen the place where space and time become inseparable, where light itself pauses before giving in. You have felt the deep hum of a gravity so complete, it draws even the measure of moments inward. These are the lights you keep, not physical beams, but the illumination of knowing. They are yours alone, and they will guide you as you move through the stars ahead. The black hole is behind you now, its horizon a memory, its singularity forever unseen. But its influence remains, not as a threat, but as a teacher. And as you drift farther outward, the stars seem to lean toward you as though in quiet welcome. You pass between them without hurry, letting the familiar hum of space settle into your thoughts. Somewhere ahead you will rest in the wide silence between suns, and when you do, you will feel the weight of what you carry, the light that cannot be bent or swallowed, the light you kept. The universe feels different now. It is not smaller because you have seen one of its deepest places. It is larger because you know there are still depths you cannot yet imagine. Ahead, a new stillness awaits, not the compressed silence of a black hole, but the vast open quiet that stretches between the stars. And that is where you are going next, into the quiet between stars. The quiet between stars. You rest in a place where no pull tugs at your body. The silence feels larger now, richer with what you've seen. Every star, every void, every shadow carries new meaning, and you know that space will never feel empty again. You have left the pull of the black hole far behind. The stars no longer stretch or bend under its gravity. Your path is no longer curved by any great mass. You are adrift in a place between, not arriving, not departing, simply resting in the vastness. Here there is no single center, no slope beneath you, no destination hidden ahead. The quiet between stars is perfect in its stillness. The silence feels different now than it once did. Before, emptiness might have seemed cold, lonely, an absence of life or purpose. But you carry the memory of what lies within darkness, and so you know that even this space, which seems empty to the eye, is full of connection. The background hum of the universe is faint here. It is not the low vibration of a black hole's song, nor the rushing light of nearby stars. It is softer, the gentle static of photons born billions of years ago, remnants of the cosmos's own beginning. The cosmic microwave background, faint but everywhere, whispering of a time when all matter was close, before space itself began to stretch. In this stillness, you begin to notice how light behaves differently here. Without dust or gas to scatter it, starlight travels clean and sharp. It arrives from every direction, each beam telling a story of where it began. Some left their home stars before Earth even formed. Some may have been shining toward you since the first galaxies assembled from clouds of hydrogen. The distances are so great that your mind tries to shrink them into something manageable. But here, there is no need to shrink anything. You are not measuring, you are simply being. No wind moves, no surface waits to meet you. There is nothing to push against, and so there is nothing to resist. You float, and your body, or whatever remains of your sense of having one, feels light in a way that is more than weightlessness. It is the absence of urgency. You think back to the deep time inside the black hole, how moments stretched until they felt endless. Here, time is steady again, but you no longer feel bound to it. The seconds pass, but they do not push you forward. They are simply markers in the still water of space. Your eyes move from one star to another. Some are brilliant and sharp, others faint, their light softened by distance. Between them, the black is not a void, but a canvas. It holds the potential for paths not yet taken, for places you cannot yet see. In the quiet, you realize you are no longer only looking outward. You are also looking inward, your thoughts turning gently over the journey behind you. The black holes pull, the spirals of light, the singularities hum. They rise again in memory, but now they are part of the same stillness that surrounds you. There is no fear here, no edge to approach, no horizon to cross. You are not being carried anywhere, nor are you resisting a fall. The space between stars is patient, and it asks nothing of you. You could stay here forever. The stars will continue to burn and move. Galaxies will continue their slow dances. Black holes will continue their silent shaping, and you will be here, held in the openness between all of it. The more you rest in this place, the more you sense its richness. It is not simply a gap between brighter things. It is part of the structure itself, the threads of darkness that make the lights possible. Without these spaces, stars would crowd each other, and the night sky would lose its depth. It is the quiet that makes the music clear. Somewhere far ahead, another journey waits. You will leave this stillness and enter the gravity of new worlds, the glow of new suns. But not yet. For now you remain in the wide, unbroken calm that exists between destinations. In this pause you come to understand something the black hole hinted at. Space is not empty because it has nothing. It is empty so it can hold everything. You close your eyes not to shut out the stars, but to feel their presence more completely. The quiet deepens, the distance between each thought grows, and in that growing space you feel yourself becoming part of the stillness, not separate from it, but made of it. You could stay here, and the universe would go on, its events unfolding like tides you no longer need to ride. But somewhere inside you, a small motion stirs. It is not urgency, it is not longing. It is simply the gentle awareness that the quiet, too, is part of a larger rhythm, a breath that will eventually lead you forward again. And when it does, you will rise from this calm into a new kind of vastness, the slow cosmic inhale of the breath of the universe. The breath of the universe. The journey ends with a deep cosmic inhale. Space and time stretch and settle, vast and patient. You lie back, eyes closed, floating in the breath between moments. And in that stillness you feel both infinite and at rest. The quiet between stars lingers in you, but now it begins to shift. It is subtle at first, a sense that the space around you is stretching, not to pull you away, but to make more room for everything that is. It feels like the slowest inhale in the universe, not the sudden sharp breath of surprise, but the unhurried drawing in of something that has all the time it could ever need. Galaxies move in their orbits, nebulae drift and swirl, and the cosmic fabric expands so gently you might not notice it at all unless you were here, resting in its rhythm. You realize you have been inside this breath all along, every step of your journey. From the edge of the black hole's pull to the deep hum of its singularity, from the photon sphere's slow dance to the stillness between stars, was part of this same inhalation. The universe was simply moving too slowly for you to notice. Now, with nothing pressing you forward, you can feel it. It is not just space that is stretching. Time is stretching too. Moments widen, their edges softening until the difference between before and after feels less certain. You exist in the breath between them, the place where neither has claimed you yet. The inhale is not yours alone. Every star and planet, every grain of dust, every atom is part of it. They are carried outward in this same expansion, drawn into a motion so vast and gentle that it does not disturb their own smaller dances. You think of how the black hole pulled everything inward, compressing space and time into a singular, unyielding path. Here, the opposite is true. The path is opening in every direction at once. There is no center, no slope to follow, only the quiet growth of possibility. It is tempting to imagine the universe as breathing in and out, a cycle of expansion and contraction. Some scientists have wondered if this might be so. If the cosmos could one day reverse its motion, drawing everything back together in a great exhale. But in this moment, the inhale is all that exists, and it feels endless. Your own breathing has fallen into step with it. You take in the universe as it takes you in, each rise of your chest matched by the rise of the galaxies. There is no rush to release the breath. The airless space does not demand it. You are breathing in a way that has nothing to do with lungs, and everything to do with being part of a rhythm that began long before you were born. The stars ahead seem to lean outward, making room for new ones that have not yet formed. Somewhere, clouds of gas are collapsing into brilliant heat, igniting the fusion that will light new corners of the night. Elsewhere, the ashes of old stars are drifting into the materials that will one day become planets, oceans, and perhaps even beings who will look up and wonder what lies beyond. You are part of that process now, not as an observer, but as something woven into the same fabric. The inhale carries you as surely as it carries light and dust. You are not moving through the universe, you are moving with it. The longer you rest in this awareness, the more the inhale feels like more than just motion. It feels like welcome, as though the universe in expanding is making space for you, for your memories of the black hole's depths, for the light you kept, for the quiet you found between stars. There is no destination in this breath. It does not lead to a point, but to an ever-widening openness. And yet it is not aimless, it is simply content to be. You close your eyes and the expansion does not stop. You feel it as a soft pressure at the edges of your awareness, an invitation to release the idea of edges altogether. There is no boundary to this inhale. It does not meet resistance, it simply continues. Somewhere far away a black hole hums in its silence. Somewhere else a star is born in a flare of light. And between them, in spaces vast beyond measure, the universe breathes. You lie within that breath, weightless, without hurry. It will carry you as far as it wishes. And if there is an exhale, you will feel that too, as natural and unhurried as this moment now. But for now, you are inside the inhale, inside the vast and patient pause between what was and what will be. And in that stillness, you feel both infinite and at rest.